and welcome to Equipoto Reviews. Today let's take a look at a comparison between two cars that have many similarities, and it can actually get a bit difficult to make a decision on which one to go for. So stick around because we will dissect both cars to help you decide on which one to go for. These two cars are the Toyota Spade and the Toyota Ractis. We will compare the 2015 models. Now, these are cars that may not necessarily be desirable, but they make a lot of sense because of what they have to offer. If it's fuel efficiency, they both offer impressive figures. If it's practicality, they are both decently spacious enough for a family, and they can also be used for business, be it as taxis or for ferrying goods or products to your business premise. They have good resale values. They are also super reliable and very affordable to maintain. The 2015 Toyota Spade is the second generation that was in production from 2012 till 2020, although it's claimed that it was already succeeded by the Toyota Sienta in 2018. This is the car that replaced the Toyota Raum. The 2015 Toyota Ractis, on the other hand, is also the second generation that was in production from 2010 till 2016, after which it was replaced by the Toyota Rumi. And the Ractis is the car that replaced the Toyota Funcargo. Now, both Ractis and Spade are underpinned by Toyota's B platform, meaning that several components are shared across the board, such as the chassis, the engines and transmissions, as well as a few other parts. So how much do these cars cost? The 2015 Spade costs between 900,000 shillings to around 1.2 million shillings, depending on the trim level and mileage. The 2015 Ractis, on the other hand, is more expensive, costing between 1.05 to around 1.35 million shillings, again depending on the trim level and mileage. So the Spade is the more affordable option. In terms of the engine options, these two cars both have either 1300 or 1500cc petrol engines. Take note of this, however. In July 2015, the 1300cc in the Toyota Spade was replaced by a more advanced 1500cc engine that is more fuel efficient. So from 2015, the Spade is only available with two engine options. Both are 1500cc's. So if you want the 1300cc, you will have to get the models that were produced before July 2015. Cars are available in either front or all-wheel drive. They also have CVT transmissions. Moving on to fuel consumption, the 1300 in the Spade can achieve around 18 km per liter, the 1500 around 16 km per liter, and the newer, more advanced 1500cc around 21 km per liter. The 1300 in the Ractis, on the other hand, can achieve around 19 km per liter, while the 1500cc around 15 km per liter. So in terms of fuel efficiency, they are more or less at par. Both are very fuel efficient. Their fuel tanks are again similar at around 42 liters. As for the service costs, being that they share the same engines, it will cost the same amount to service each car. The minor service should be done after 5,000 kilometers and it will cost about 6,000 shillings, while the major service should be done after 10,000 kilometers, and on average it will cost about 16,000 shillings. So these are affordable cars to maintain. They have simple engines that are very easy to work on, so there will be nothing much to worry about. The ground clearance on the Spade measures in at around 150 millimeters, while that of the Ractis measures in at around 145 millimeters. They both fall below the recommended clearance of around 165 millimeters, but they can manage most roads within the cities and towns. It's only when you get to some severe bumps that you may experience a bit of a challenge, but generally they are not too bad. As for the brakes, they both get ventilated discs at the front and drum brakes at the back, which is quite sufficient. The carb weight of the Spade ranges between 1,100 to around 1,240 kgs, while that of the Ractis ranges between 1,090 to around 1,170 kgs. So the Spade seems to be the heavier car here. Lastly, some of the extra features you can get in these cars include alloy wheels, fog lights, keyless entry and go, navigation with backup camera, and automatic AC. Additionally, the Spade can also come with an electric left sliding door, as well as a bench seat at the front with an armrest. So with all that said, we can clearly see just how similar these cars are. They share the same engines and transmissions, they have the same fuel tank capacity, their service costs are similar, and in terms of fuel consumption, they are also at par. Now, what sets them apart is their exterior and interior design. The Spade has this sliding left door that opens up to reveal a wide opening that is very ideal when it comes to loading in items or even when getting in or out of the car. Better still, you can even fold down the front passenger seat to get more space for loading in bulkier items. The back seats can also be folded down to create more room for luggage. So in terms of space, it does quite well, especially being that this car is tall, so you can load up more items and make full use of the space. The rear seat space is decent enough. There is good leg, head, and even foot room. Another unique feature that this car has is that you can lift up the rear seat bases to enable you to load up taller items. It's actually a similar feature to what you get in the Honda Fit, the so-called magic seats. The boot is not that big, but you can fold down the rear seats to create more luggage space. Lastly, the dashboard design is a bit out of the norm. You will either like or hate it. It looks a bit strange, but once you get used to it, it will be easier to live with. The same applies to its exterior design. It's an either love or hated design. It's not your typical hatchback or mini MPV design. It almost tends to strike a balance between an MPV and a hatchback. The result is that it looks like a smaller version of the Voxy or Noah, but generally it's not bad looking, it's just a bit awkward. One advantage that it offers over the Ractis is its slightly elevated driving position. Moving on to the Ractis, it's more of a normal hatchback or mini MPV. I reckon it looks better than the Spade, and the same can be said of its interior, which looks more simple and straightforward. Everything is placed where you would expect it to be, unlike in the Toyota Spade. The back seats are spacious enough, just like in the Spade. The headroom is good, the legroom is also sufficient. The boot is slightly more spacious than in the Spade, and another good thing is that the rear seats fold flat into the floor, unlike in the Toyota Spade. So which one should you go for? The Spade has three advantages. The first one is that it's slightly more affordable. Secondly, it has a very wide door opening that is useful for loading in items, and it also has a slightly elevated driving position. On the flip side, its looks may not sit so well with everyone, then its boot is slightly not as practical as that of the Ractis. The Ractis, on the other hand, has two advantages. It looks better than the Spade, both the exterior and interior. Secondly, it's slightly more practical than the Spade. On the flip side, it is more expensive compared to the Spade and Porte. Aside from those few differences, these two cars are similar in most aspects. So if you don't like the looks of the Spade, then just go for the Ractis. On the other hand, if you don't mind the looks of the Spade and you need a slightly elevated driving position and the wide door aperture, then just get the Toyota Spade. Generally, both cars are very good and very similar, so it all boils down to things such as aesthetics and the price. Which one would I recommend? I think I would prefer the Ractis, but again, I don't see why you should pay 100,000 shillings or 200,000 shillings more for the Ractis. So I would just get the Spade or Porte, which is even more affordable. Some of them are going for about 850,000 shillings. You can get either that or get the Ractis for about 950,000 shillings and use the remaining amount to do something else instead of coughing out around 1.15 or 1.2 million for the Ractis. And yet these two cars are very similar. So there you have it. I hope this has been helpful. Please consider subscribing to the channel for more informative content on cars. If you have any enquiries, feel free to reach me via email or WhatsApp. That's it for this episode. Stay safe. See you in the next one.